Hi, and welcome to the show. It's Hazel DeClue here, the Wealth Whisperer, coming to you today with some quick money-making tips. And the reason why I'm doing this show for you today is because I sometimes get people come to me and say, Hazel, I would love to start my journey towards financial freedom. However, I don't have much left at the end of each month to start working with. So I thought I'm going to share some of our best little money making tips to get the ball rolling. And in no particular order, I'm going to go through some, I'm just going to put some out there quick fire so that you can see what inspires you, see what you think you would be able to actually put into practice or take action on, and get that extra bit of cash rolling in to start working with in earnest. Okay, you ready? Here we go. So, in no particular order, the first one is cashback offers. So, you can sometimes get cashback from your credit card that you have. If you haven't got a cashback credit card, perhaps go out and look for one. We have one that we earn rewards on, and over the course of a year, if we put all our shopping and insurances and fuel and other normal expenses through it, it amounts to quite a lot. And we get a decent amount of cash back, actually, a few £100s each year. So it's not to be sneezed at. It's worth having. So that's one idea. You could also switch bank accounts potentially. It's a bit of a hassle, but some banks give you an incentive to join with a bit of a cashback. So that could also be an interesting idea for you. How about cashback websites where you make purchases through the website? We've done this fairly recently on a mattress that we had to buy, and we got, I think, 8% cashback, which equated to, I don't know, £80, I think, something like that, £80 or £90, which not to be sneezed at for sure. So that was an easy one, just putting it through the website instead of going directly to the retailer. Put it through a company like Top Cashback or Quidco, somewhere like that, and get yourself a cashback. And now the next sort of category is benefits or entitlements. So there are websites where you can check if you are entitled to any particular government benefits or tax breaks. And so you can just Google it. Google tax breaks, or what am I entitled to? What benefits am I entitled to? A benefit checker, if you like. There may be grants that you're entitled to for energy efficiency or education, or perhaps you're starting a business and there's some sort of tax break or loan to be had for that, or grant even. And sometimes you can even find that you have lost money. And there is a specific place that you can go and check if you've got any lost assets anywhere. So I would imagine this is a bank account that you've forgotten about, or perhaps some premium bonds that are lurking in the background. I don't know, something like that. Go and have a look, see if you've got anything like that lurking around. The next thing is to perhaps provide lodgings in your own home. Now, this is a really interesting one because this gets you a really decent tax break. And so therefore you can earn quite a hefty amount before paying any tax, or without paying any tax if you keep it under the band. So it's called the rent-a-room scheme. And you are allowed as a household to earn £7,500 a year tax-free. So that's nearly, I don't know, just over £600 a month tax-free for renting one room out in your home. And my parents did this actually when I was younger. They used to rent a room to the local territorial army base, and yeah, I think that was the main one really. And so regularly we got people coming from all over the country staying for a territorial army course, and my parents would get paid for looking after them when they were there. And yeah, it was a great way of earning a bit of extra cash tax free. So that's the rent a room allowance. You could also potentially take in foreign exchange students for a short period of time, maybe a week, maybe a couple of weeks or a month, and again get paid for that. And I believe that that may also fall under the rent a room scheme. So perhaps want to check, but foreign exchange students can be a pretty decent source of additional income, especially if you have children yourself and you want them to maybe learn a language or learn about a new culture. Again, my parents did this with me, and I made quite a few pen friends out of it in Germany and France and French Guiana, Algeria. It was an interesting one. So yeah, that could be, oh, Yugoslavia as well, when it was Yugoslavia. I'm showing my age now, right? So there we go. There we have it. Another quick way to earn some extra moolah is to go online. Okay, so these are the online ideas for you. You could sell off unwanted items from your home that have a value. You could rummage around your loft or in your store cupboards and or your children's cupboards, things that they've grown out of, for example, that are worth a bit of cash, and you could sell them on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree. You can sell old clothes which still have a value on a place called Vinted. That's quite a good place to post your items and get paid accordingly. A little bit of hassle factor, fair enough, but it's better than perhaps going to a jumble sale. Of course, you can go to a jumble sale, but if you don't have a facility to do so or the inclination, then why not go online to do it? It can be quite a nice little earner. Another thing you could do online is market research or surveys. Believe it or not, people pay you for your time to do surveys and market research. Go and take a look. How about affiliate commission, affiliate marketing? This is where you promote other people's goods or services and you get paid an amount of commission. It could be anything from a few percent to 50%. There are many different ways. There are loads of places you can go and have a look online on how to make money out of affiliate commission, but that's quite an interesting concept. How about a hobby or a skill that you have that you could turn into a cottage business? Now, my mother was the absolute queen of this. She could turn her hand to a number of different, well, she turned her hand to a number of different things. She was pretty skilled and very arty. And so she turned her passion for cooking into doing cookery courses for a period of years at the local educational centre, which happened to be my school as well. She also decorated eggs and sold them at craft fairs. She made cakes and goodies to sell at craft events at the same place that she did her egg decorating. And oh my goodness me, she knitted scarves and sold them to a local shop. I mean, there are so many things that you could turn your hand to and make a little bit of extra cash to bring in. One of my clients started making Christmas decorations and selling them via a like a garden centre type place, and made a small fortune one winter just having prepared them all year and then sold them at Christmas. And I don't know, must have made at least probably a few thousand out of it. So a nice little earner there, turning your hobby or your skill into a side hustle, a little cottage business. So that could be quite fun. If you are particularly arty, then you could make and sell t-shirts, mugs and other merchandise online, and you could turn it into, for example, a print on demand business. And if you are particularly good at illustration or painting or I don't know, any other art form that can be turned into two dimensions, then you could get that printed as a label on things or t-shirts or mugs or etc. etc. I have a very lovely friend down the road who does just that. She's an amazing watercolor artist, and she turns her goods into mugs, bags, badges, coasters, all sorts of things. So that could be a nice little sideline just there. Perhaps if you're more hands-on and you like to actually be involved, or you don't think you necessarily have the arty touch or creative touch in that sense, perhaps maybe you could do odd jobs for people. Maybe you might like to do a bit of gardening. I had a neighbour up the road who offered her services, and she used to come and do, people's gardens, charge £10 an hour, and she loved gardening, and it was a great service, and it certainly earned her a few extra £100 per month. So you could do gardening, maybe you could do ironing or cleaning, mending, sewing, DIY, dog walking, babysitting, pet sitting, I don't know, loads of different things to name but a few. So perhaps if you're more hands-on, then that could be the one for you. Why don't you think about becoming a tutor? If you're good at something yourself, you could become a tutor for others, either physically in person or online. I know for a fact that there is a website that you can become a tutor, and you can teach, for example, English as a second language to foreign students who want to learn online. And there's a particularly good marketplace on that. I know that one of my son was watching a video about someone who lives, I think, over in the Philippines or Thailand. I'm not quite sure exactly which country. And he basically makes his living doing English as a second language at the weekends, earning money from that, and then living the life of luxury the rest of the week, not having to do a thing. So that's a bit of an inspirational, interesting sideline. And then, of course, there are some very quick fixes, work-related quick fixes. So something that you could do in your current career or job. Number one is overtime, of course. Everyone's heard of that. But, why not? A few hours a week overtime could pay you an extra few £100 per month that you could start to deploy in another project, in an investment. What about asking for a pay rise? I mean, when's the last time you had a pay rise? Have you asked if you can have a pay rise? If you don't ask, you don't get sometimes. So perhaps consider going to the boss and finding out if that's possible. What about a couple of other miscellaneous ones here, which would be maybe taxi driving or telemarketing? I know there are companies. In fact, I did some telemarketing for a little while for my sins. For one was for an estate agency. I had to call up households in the evenings to drum up business for the daytime staff. And so I had all sorts of people eating their dinner, watching soap operas, shouting at their kids, putting their kids to bed. It was an interesting one, but I earned about £5 an hour, and I got some commissions if I got an appointment for during the daytime. So it was a good skill set to learn, right? Oh, I also sold credit card machines for a little while, and it certainly got me over my fear of just getting on the phone and talking to strangers and having to market myself. So it was a good one. Anyway, that was a little aside there. The things I've done. How about a bit of agency work or extra part-time work? That could be, in a pub. It could be, like I say, taxi driving. It could be some sort of freelancing work. Freelancing is really quite interesting. There are a couple of websites. I think there's Upwork, Fiverr.com, People Per Hour, websites like that, where you can literally market your skill sets, and you can, if you're really good at copywriting, or you're really good at I don't know, creative stuff online, creating stuff on Canva or what have you, an artwork, or I don't know, or millions of different things, or accountancy, I don't know, you can actually offer your services as a sideline freelance on websites like that. So there really is no excuse to actually start making yourself an extra bit of cash so that you can put that towards your own financial freedom journey, and you can, build up a pot to work with. Funnily enough, some people say to me, well, don't you need thousands to start to make money? No, you really don't. You can start off with tens of pounds, all right? A couple of £100. There is something for everybody, and I'm sure I will be sharing with you different assets that you can get involved in, different ways that you can be working with your money so that it can start to grow regardless of the amount that you have. Even if you have £1, start with £1 and think of the different ways that you can increase that pound. How could you double it? What could you do? It gets the juices flowing, and it gives you inspiration as to what's possible. When you start to see it accrue, it's really very fun. So hopefully those top tips have given you a few ideas as to what you might be able to do to go out and earn some extra dosh to put into your investing pot. Have fun with it. Let me know what you've been able to do, and I'm sure I'll see you on the next episode.